Hello friends, once again Ruchi Jain. Welcome to my YouTube channel Learn German A to Z. Today we are going to learn something new. Verbs with separable prefixes in German language, which are also called in German Trennbares Verb. So let's learn this new topic. Trennbare Verben. Let's understand what are these verbs. The verbs which have separable prefixes are called Trennbare Verben. Separable prefixes. These verbs always have separable prefix. Let's see some of the examples. Aufstehen. Aufstehen. You can see there are two parts in this verb. Auf plus stehen, which means to get up. And how we use it? We use stehen, that is at the second position, verb position, and this prefix goes at the end of the sentence, auf. So that is how we write it, stehen, auf. Let's see one more example. Einkaufen. Ein plus kaufen. This prefix is ein, which means to shop or to buy. So the same way we use it, kaufen, ein. Ein, the prefix at the end of the sentence. Let's see one more example. Anrufen. Anrufen. An is the prefix here, which means to call. And the same way we use it, rufen, an comes at the end of the sentence. We are going to learn this structure of the sentence. So these are some of the examples for Trennbare Verben. Aufstehen, einkaufen, anrufen. Let's take some of the examples. Einkaufen, which means to buy or to shop. I buy a book every day. In German, we'll do that. Ich kaufe jeden Tag ein Buch. Ein. This ein is different from this ein. This is article ein, unbestimmter Artikel, and this is prefix, which is along with this verb einkaufen. We have to conjugate the verb according to the subject, the pronoun. Ich kaufe jeden Tag, that is every day, ein Buch, ein. Let's take one more example. Aufstehen, to get up. He wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Steht morgens 6 Uhr auf. Steht morgens 6 Uhr auf. This auf is the again prefix which is at the end of the sentence. Steht, we have to conjugate the verb stehen according to the subject, that is the pronoun steht morgens 6 Uhr auf. That is how we use it in the sentence. Now, ausgehen. One more verb. Aus plus gehen. To go out. Let's take one example. Sabrina goes out in the evening. Sabrina goes out in the evening. We'll translate it like this. Sabrina geht abends aus. Sabrina geht abends aus. This aus is again the prefix ausgehen, and the verb we have to conjugate according to the subject. That is the third person, Sabrina. That is why it is geht. Sabrina geht abends aus. Let's take one more example. Anrufen. That means to call. Anrufen, to call. That is on telephone. Who is calling you? It's the example in English. Who is calling you? Wer ruft dich an? Wer ruft dich an? This an prefix which we have to keep at the end of the sentence, no matter whether it's a question or a statement. So that is how we translate it. Wer ruft dich an? Let's see some more examples. Vorstellen, which means to introduce or to imagine. Vorstellen. For is the prefix here. Please introduce yourself. That's in the English. Bitte stellen Sie sich vor. Bitte stellen Sie sich vor. One more example. Fernsehen. Fernsehen, which means to watch TV. To watch TV. Now let's take the example in English. Why are you watching TV now? Why are you watching TV now? Warum siehst du jetzt fern? Warum siehst du jetzt fern? So the prefix here is fern. Sehen, we have to conjugate it according to the pronoun or the subject. Siehst du. Jetzt, that is now. So the question will be, warum siehst du jetzt fern? That is how we will use this verb Fernsehen in a sentence. Go ahead. Now here is the list of the some of the Trennbare Verben. Ankommen. The prefix here is an. Ankommen, which means to arrive. To arrive. Ausgehen. The prefix is aus, which means to go out. Anmachen. Anmachen. Prefix is an, definitely, and which means to turn on. To turn on. Ausmachen. Aus is the prefix, machen is the verb. Ausmachen, which means to turn off. To turn off. Dann kommt anfangen. An plus fangen. Prefix is an, which means to begin. To begin. Then Amanda, anrufen. An plus rufen. An is the prefix here again, and it means to call. Let's go ahead. Some more verbs. Abholen. Here the prefix is ab, holen, abholen, which means to pick up. Next verb is aufstehen. We have already seen this in the examples. Auf plus stehen. Auf is the prefix, which means to get up. Aufmachen. Auf is again the prefix. Machen, verb. Aufmachen is the Trennbare verb, which means to open. Zumachen. Zumachen. Zu is the prefix. It means to close. Window or something. Zumachen, to close. Aufmachen, to open. Now the next word is aufhören. Auf plus hören. It means to stop. To stop. Here the prefix is auf. Then comes zu hören. Zu plus hören. Zu is the prefix. Hören. Zu hören is the verb, which means to listen to. Let's go ahead. Abräumen. Ab is the prefix. Abräumen. To clear the table. To clear. Aufräumen. Auf, prefix. Aufräumen, which means to clean. To clean. Maybe a room or a house. Then comes anschauen. An is the prefix. Anschauen. To look at. To look at. Then comes one more verb. Ansehen. Ansehen. Prefix is an. Ansehen. That means also to look at. It depends on the context where we have to use these verbs. So we are going to learn that later on. Right now, just try to understand the meanings. Anschauen, ansehen, anziehen. Anziehen, that means to put on clothes. An is again here the prefix. Ausziehen. Ausziehen, to take off clothes. Here the prefix is aus. So abräumen, aufräumen, anschauen, ansehen, anziehen und ausziehen. So you can relate these words and try to remember these words. Some more verbs. Einsteigen. Einsteigen. Prefix is definitely ein, which means to board. Maybe a train, bus. So einsteigen. Second is aussteigen. Aussteigen, that is just the opposite. To get out. To unboard. Prefix is aus. Next one is umsteigen. Umsteigen, is the prefix. To switch or to change the train or bus. So einsteigen, aussteigen und umsteigen. All three verbs are quite similar, but the meaning is totally different because of the prefix. Einsteigen, aussteigen und umsteigen. Now the next one is vorschlagen. Vorschlagen. For is the prefix, which means to suggest. To suggest. Next one is vorstellen, that we have already seen. Once again, for is the prefix. Vorstellen is to introduce or to imagine. Next is einschlafen. Ein is the prefix. Einschlafen, to fall asleep. To fall asleep. So these are some of the verbs: einsteigen, aussteigen, umsteigen, vorschlagen, vorstellen und einschlafen. Let's go ahead. Some more Trennbare verb. Einpacken. Einpacken. Ein is the prefix, which means to pack up. Auspacken. Aus prefix. Auspacken. It means to unpack. So it is quite easy to remember. Einpacken und auspacken. Then comes mitmachen. Mitmachen, as the word suggests, to participate. To participate. Mit is the prefix here. Then mitnehmen. Mitnehmen. Mit is again the prefix here. It means to take with, to take along. Then comes zurückgeben. Zurückgeben. Zurück is the prefix here. To return. Some object, any object, book or something. To return, that's the meaning. Then zurückkommen. Zurückkommen, which means to come back. So these are some of the verbs: einpacken, auspacken, mitmachen, mitnehmen, zurückgeben, zurückkommen. Let's go ahead. Verbs having inseparable prefixes. Till now we have learned the verbs which are having separable prefixes. Now we are going to see some of the verbs which are having inseparable prefixes. They seem like they are having separable prefix, but they are not. There are some prefixes which seem like separable but are not separated from verbs. These are actually inseparable prefixes. Let's see some of the examples like be, ge. These are the prefixes, but these are inseparable prefixes. ZAR, MISS, EMP, VER, ENT, and so weiter. Let's try to understand these examples. Examples with meanings. First one is be. Bemerken. Bemerken, to notice. This is not separable prefix. It's inseparable. We use it as it is. Bemerken. Bekommen, to get. Beachten, to observe. Let's see one more example. with GE. That's the prefix. Gewinnen, gewinnen, which means to win. Entfallen, entfallen, to fall. Entdecken, to discover. Empfangen, to receive. Empfangen, to receive. Verabreden, verabreden, to arrange. Verabschieden, to see off. Verabschieden and verabreden. Erachten, erachten is to consider. Erkennen, to realize or to recognize. Erachten, to consider. Erkennen, to realize, to recognize. Then zerbeißen, to chew. Zerbeißen, to chew. Zerstören, to destroy. Zerstören. Missbrauchen, missbrauchen, to misuse or to abuse. Missbilligen, to disapprove. Missbrauchen, missbilligen. So these are the verbs which are having non-separable prefixes. Thank you. Danke sehr. I hope you have understood the separable prefixes, verb and inseparable prefix verbs. If you haven't subscribed my channel till now, please do subscribe and ring the bell and wait for my next interesting video. Once again, thank you very much. Cheers.